to introduce Debbie. Debbie is a mental health advocate and human resources consultant. She assists clients in developing mental health and well-being strategies, employee engagement surveys, culture development, training, and coaching, all in the mental health and well-being space. So she is just doing fantastic work. She has a background in social work and human resource management as well, which has given her a deep understanding of human behavior. And she also does one-on-one coaching and mentorship of HR folks around mental health in the workplace, speaking events, conferences. She really does it all. So Debbie, thanks so much for joining us and for leading this session today. But that is all from me, and I will pass it over to you to get started.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And what a warm and lovely welcome. Give it up for Summer. Thank you for being with us and helping us with everything we need to do on the back end as well. Thank you. We appreciate you. And thank you to Checking In for having us today on this awesome boot camp. So I love the idea of boot camp. When Summer and Sean and myself met, we were brainstorming what we wanted to create for you today. And I was like, we go to boot camp for our bodies, to strengthen our muscles. We need to do the same thing for our poor little brains. And so today I'm going to be introducing you to some concepts. And really, I was thinking in the last 2 years, as I've been consulting and teaching on mental health and resiliency and coaching one-to-one hundreds of people who have been struggling with mental health, resilience, stress, all the above. What are kind of my go-tos? What are the tools and what are the conversations I continually find myself having with folks? And so we tried to really summarize some of those key takeaways into our time together today. So I'm going to be introducing you to positive intelligence. If you haven't heard of positive intelligence, if you haven't read this book, this is a game changer. I took a 6-week course in this. Early days of the pandemic, and I cannot tell you it was life altering. So how am I going to tell you all of that in 45 minutes? I'm not. Today is like a teaser. It's going to be a little introduction into some of the concepts around positive intelligence. And then the other key thing we're going to look at today, and maybe some of you have seen this. How many of you have read Atomic Habits? This is another one of my favorites. Type a Y in the chat if you've read either of these books. If you haven't, go and get these books. But beyond the books, we're going to be talking about some of the key concepts. So I keep coming back to these in daily conversations with my clients, and we're going to be talking about how to bridge positive intelligence with atomic habits. And if we could do that, we will have superpowers of resiliency. So let's get started. And the very first thing I want us all to do right now, pause, slow it down. Could you close your eyes for me and take in 3 deep belly breaths? So breathing in as much oxygen as you can and really blowing up your belly like a balloon. And breathing out slowly. So 3 deep breaths. And all of you were courageous and signed up for this webinar today. So I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Be proud of yourself. And I just want you to take a moment to set an intention. So we didn't just arrive here haphazardly because we saw a post on LinkedIn or somewhere else. So is there one area of your life that you'd like to improve right now? And let's just pick one. Let's not get overwhelmed and say, I've got 7. People come to me for coaching and they're like, I've got 7. And I'm like, let's start with 1. and just set an intention for this time this morning and focus on that one. So does everyone have one? One popped into your mind? Yes. All right. Type a Y in the chat if you've got it, and we're going to move on. So what are we talking about when we're talking about positive intelligence? Well, here's what I'm going to say to you. I've been teaching in this space for 20 years. 20 years ago, you would have heard me preaching about emotional intelligence. Like any leader whose ear I could get, I was on the emotional intelligence bandwagon. And now people know I'm on the positive intelligence bandwagon. And why? Here's what I'm going to tell you. In so much of the work that I do, what I have come to realize is that the mind is our stumbling block. We all have great intentions. People set goals for themselves. They want to change actions, decisions, choices, behaviors. We need to go back to psychology to understand the root of where all of that flows from. And so if you're with me and you've done any work in psychology, you know, when we think of things like CBT, it goes mind, emotions, behaviors. And for 20 years, I've been working with executives and leadership teams. You know, I assess emotional intelligence, I teach emotional intelligence, I coach emotional intelligence. It's all good stuff. But continually, again and again and again, people are stuck. And where they are hung up is up here. We all have a lot of what I'm going to call stinking thinking. And so what positive intelligence does is it teaches us a system and a process. You know, yes, it's meditation, but it goes way beyond that. And it really gets you to look at your thinking through meditation, through journaling, through exercises, to really look at and examine the filters, right? Like glasses that you and I put on in different situations and circumstances, which alter our thoughts and our perceptions of the event. So many people come to me for coaching for stress. And here's the thing, stress is not what's happening to us. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Stress is our perception of what is happening to us. Our perceptions of what is happening to us create chemicals in our brains, trigger brainwave activity. Now through neuroscience and MRIs, we see all this cool stuff going on. It triggers our little amygdala in the limbic system, which is fight or flight, which releases chemicals into our system, which then creates the stress feeling, which then creates the decisions, behaviors, choices, and actions. And this is what positive intelligence really helps us to be able to start to break down and change. So there's a number of concepts, right, that we could look at in this book. I wanted to introduce you to it today. If you're someone who literally, like some of my clients are, I've attended 7 stress management workshops and I'm still stressed and dealing with anxiety. I'm like, you don't need any more behavior management sessions. What you need really to do is start understanding your mind, what you're thinking about, and how that's affecting you. The cool thing is the brain is a muscle. I don't know if any of you follow one of my all-time favorites, Dr. Carolyn Leaf. Who follows Dr. Carolyn Leaf on Instagram? She is like one of my daily peeps. I check her out every day, and she is a neuroscience expert, and she teaches us the brain is a muscle, and neuro pathways can literally be built and changed, and you can see them. And so many of our negative mindsets literally are just ruts in our brain. And so when situations happen, the thoughts fall into what we call automatic negative thoughts. And what we need to do is learn to catch these things, right? Catch them at the onset and examine them objectively, and then actually reframe them. into something more true, more positive, more hopeful, more creative, more compassionate. And as we do that and we exercise those muscles, like in boot camp, we create new neural pathways. And over time, our thinking changes. And if you don't believe this, I'm going to tell you, I did the 6-week course. It was 10 minutes a day of brain boot camp, gym exercises. And I literally felt like a different person from when I started to when I finished. 10 minutes a day. That's all it takes. And we know from Atomic Habits, that's all it takes. 1% change per day has a 37% impact in 1 year. So even just think of that. If your intention today was, I want to be 1% more positive, you could be 37 times more positive this time next year if you could commit to 10 minutes a day. Now, if you want to assess yourself, and this is really cool, if you go on to their website, positiveintelligence.com, you can assess yourself. You can assess your negative mindsets. What are they? So you don't even have to guess. And you can also do a PQ assessment, a positive quotient for yourself, to see the percentage of time that you spend in your mind, either in positive ways or not. And what's so cool is, for many of my clients who come to me for coaching, I'm like, let's do a baseline assessment. And then from there, right, let's remeasure that a few months later. And you can see your growth and you can see your improvement, and it's powerful. So as we work today, these muscles on positivity and some of the concepts in this book, here's my question for you. How will this benefit you? So I'm going to be asking you when you leave here today to show up every day for yourself for 10 minutes and do some exercises. Just like you would show up in a gym. And most of you, come on, who here exercises 10 minutes? Most of you are committed. You go half an hour, you go an hour, you go 20 minutes minimum, because you want to see results. I'm saying show up 10 minutes for yourself. So what is it that you want more of? What is it that you want more of? How will being more positive benefit you? Can you type your ideas into the chat? How will being more positive benefit you? Many folks want a better quality of life. They want more energy. Who here doesn't want more energy? They want better mental health. They want to feel more confident. We know the mind-body connection is powerful. So our thinking and our mental health absolutely affects our physiological health and well-being. The two go hand in hand. Research also shows that positive people have stronger immune systems. They suffer from fewer colds, and they actually have a longer lifespan. And being more positive absolutely will impact your relationships, right? You will attract more positivity into your own life. So as you sit and think today on what you want more of, right? This is really important. It's not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. There are two key concepts I want you to take away today. Number one is, we cannot be stressed and positive at the same time. It's physiologically not possible, because when we're stressed, the part of our brain that gets activated is what I've already told you back here. It's the amygdala, which resides in our limbic system. And neuroscientists have shown us that positivity originates up here in part of the frontal lobe. So you cannot be stressed and positive at the same time. You're really straining your brain to try to be positive when you're feeling really stressed. So if you want to become more positive, the first step is to decrease the stress in your life. And you will, like my clients tell me, magically, as we work on them actually decreasing their stress, they just start to think and feel more positive. We haven't even started the brain gym part of our coaching. And then we go beyond that. Now that we've calmed down our stress to a level that feels more manageable, then we start strengthening those positive neural pathways. And those two things in combination are what create this positive intelligence for you. So we're going to go through an exercise and we're going to help. Number one, let's calm the stress part of the brain. So I just want you to think for a moment, what are the things in your life currently that create stress for you? So please, pen to paper, what are your biggest stressors? And then if you're comfortable, please share one in the chat. Okay, go. This is where the muscle lifting happens. So what are the things that increase stressful brain waves? What do you know from research? What do you know is true from your own experience? What creates stress for you? What creates stress in the brain? What adds to stress in the brain? So, too much work or workload or competing priorities or unclear priorities, unclear expectations. Yes, like stressful relationships. What else creates stress for you? Yeah, people and things you cannot control. Now, here's something that's really interesting. So remember I said to you earlier, stress is our perception of the outside events. So we need to understand what increases the limbic system activity. So now I need you to go deeper. If our brain is stressed, which many folks who come coaching have stressed out brains, it's not about the outside events in their life. Are you getting this? It's about the fact that their brains are stressed from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep. So they're like a sitting duck as they go through their day. It doesn't matter what actions or activities or situations happen. The guy takes too long at the stoplight, you know, the lineup at the checkout's too long, the friend sent the not so nice email. You're going to react if you're already starting from a place where your poor little brain is stressed out. So what creates stress in the brain? Does anyone know? What are your daily habits that increase stressed out brain waves? Why are our minds so stressed? Why are our minds so stressed? Now I'm going to help you out here because I'm wanting you to really think, what are your daily habits that increase stressful brain waves? This is powerful. So I'm going to tell you, constant contact, technology. Your poor little brains are overstimulated. And that's just one thing. So am I helping you? Give me another one. What other brain waves, what other things create stressed out brain waves? Meredith, I know you know this and I know you're on here. Let's hear from you. Come on. Joanne, thank you. What else? So how about we say the news? I don't watch the news. And in fact, last night I sat down with my husband to watch the news. And within 5 minutes, I got up and left the room. That's constant negativity. There wasn't one positive thing on the news. The stories were sad. They were stressful. They triggered anxiety for me, some of them. And I was like, why am I exposing myself to this? This doesn't feel good. I'm out. Now, some people, I guess, can tolerate that more. Depends where your threshold is to begin with. If you're a busy working mom like I am, by 6 p.m., sitting down to watch the nightly news is not an exercise in positivity. There's nothing feel good about it for me. Because by that time of the day, my stress is at like an 8 out of 10. So I think you're starting to get it, right? What are the things that increase stressful brain waves? These are actually habits that we do in our day. And so everything from technology to too much caffeine, Alcohol and drugs create stress in the brain. They're toxic. They're called neurotoxins. Conflict, too much work. Thank you, Meredith. Not enough sleep. There are some of the clients I coach and we spend our whole time getting them to sleep. I send them to the doctor. They get diagnosed with sleep apnea. We get that cured, and all of a sudden they feel like a different person. Sleep is the ingredient for self-regulation. And what else is the ingredient for self-regulation? Nutrition. So do you know poor eating habits can make you more negative? People who don't eat enough are negative and irritable and crabby. Why? Because they're starving. Junk food can make you negative. Exposure to negativity, unhealthy people, unhealthy environments. My son went to a school that was literally like almost condemned and falling down. And I cannot tell you, within 2 months of that happening, the impact that was having on him, emotionally, mentally, just being in that dingy, falling apart, negative environment. So I want you to now just take a moment, because here is the very cool thing. We all are in control of our choices and our actions and our behaviors. Many people just have these automatic habits that we do, that we're like addicted to, that are unhealthy for us. And we're on autopilot from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to bed. We're completely unconscious of how our choices are actually adding to our stress, anxiety, and negativity. So I want you to even just think for a moment here and set another intention. Pick one of these negative things that is increasing the stressful brain waves in your brain. It increases limbic system activity. Pick one that you're going to commit to decreasing in the next week. So if you drink 4 cups of coffee a day, try going down to 3. If you're on technology, which I love now on the phone, you can track your technology use. If you are completely addicted, you can decrease your screen time by setting alerts and shutoffs for yourself. If you are not sleeping enough, you can make a plan to start getting better sleep. Some people, I'm going to say you should go talk to your doctor and see if you can get a sleep apnea test or an insomnia test. Stop watching the news. If you're watching the news every night and you feel terrible afterwards. If you're always inside, get out in nature. So pick one of these things that you'd like to decrease in your life over the next week. So does everyone have one? So there you go. You've lifted a weight by choosing one. And self-awareness is one of the most important things for you to take away today. The better road to mental health, I believe, has 3 steps. Self-awareness first, self-management second, self-advocacy third. So as you go through today, you're becoming more aware. What's working for you, not working for you. Adding to your stress, taking away from your stress. Now it's over to you to manage yourself better. And if you can't manage yourself and you're stuck, then you need to reach out for help. Coaching, counseling, through checking in, through me, through your EAP. So those are your 3 steps to positive behavior change. All right, so we want to calm the stress part of the brain. And so here's what's so great. These are all the activities. And Meredith, I know you're so happy to see that time in nature calms the stress part of the brain. These are all the activities that we need more of. Not just once a year on a vacation. When I say to people that I coach, what's your wellness strategy? They'll say, I take a vacation twice a year. I'm like, wow, how do you even survive? Like, we need a daily wellness strategy. We need a weekly wellness strategy. If any of you are leaders on this call, great coaching questions for your employees. What's your wellness strategy this month? And sometimes people say to me, like, I run 3 times a week. In fact, my husband said that to me the other day. I said, what's your wellness strategy this week? He said, I'm going to work out 3 times, which I'm proud of. Let's, right, react with clapping hands to that. And I'm like, you know, because you're married to me, wellness goes way beyond just physical exercise. What are those habits that you do in your day to decrease the poor, overstimulated part of your brain and increase the brainwave activity in the frontal lobe, which is going to help you be more positive, hopeful, optimistic, creative, compassionate? So again, as part of today, checking in, so many people have forgotten all these great things. I want you to pick one of these things that you'd like to do more of this week. So what I hope you hear me saying, right, is it's all about deposits and withdrawals. So we're going to take away one thing that's negatively impacting us, and we're going to deposit something that will have a positive outcome and a positive result. So can everyone think of one thing from this list that they'd like to commit to doing more of this week? One thing. And I'm just going to pause and give you a moment to think about some powerful questions. And those questions are, why is this important to you? And if you could commit to doing more to add to your positivity and decrease your stress, how will this actually benefit you? And if you don't, right, if you just show up here today like, yay, great webinar, and then you get off and you just go on about your day and nothing changes, how will that negatively affect you? What would those consequences be for you if you don't intentionally do more of what we're talking about today? And you're probably already feeling and experiencing those things, which is why you signed up for today's webinar. And here's the last, which I think very powerful question is, who would you be being if you could do more of this for yourself? All the research on behavior change tells us there's 3 key things. One is the goals you set for yourself. 2 is the systems and the processes that you put in place for yourself. And 3 is your identity. And which one of those 3 things do you think is really at the root of true behavior change? Goals, processes, or identity? What do you think is at the heart of true behavior change? Your identity, what you believe about yourself to be true. So when 2 different teams set goals for themselves, they have the same goals, which is to win. Why does one team win and the other team doesn't? Well, behavior scientists have studied this for decades, and now this is all about this book, Atomic Habits. And what we learn, right, from Atomic Habits, what you believe to be true about yourself is at the heart of all real behavior change. That you can do it, that you deserve it, that you're worthy of it, that you're still lovable if you say no to people and you say yes to yourself, that you can handle it if you set boundaries and people don't like it. So real behavior change comes from your belief, right, about yourself and your ability to do and handle whatever goals you set for yourself. So goals create the direction Your systems and processes are what lead to the results. So when they study teams and they study, Olympians, and they try to figure out why, like if they both had the goal of becoming gold, winning the gold, why did one get it and the other didn't? And really, it's about your systems and your processes. But if we want to go one level deeper and understand behavior change, you're absolutely right, Faith. It's all about what you believe about yourself to be true. So as you're even thinking today about becoming more positive, better self-care, what do you believe about yourself that is going to help you to achieve that for yourself? And we cannot at all ignore the impact that your environment is also going to have on your success here. So I love this quote: environment is the invisible hand that shapes our behavior. And so many of my clients have great intentions, and we do daily affirmations to help them change their mindsets and their self-belief. And we set goals and we come up with systems and processes. And then they come back to me 2 weeks later and they haven't been able to achieve their results. Why? Because many of us are in environments that are not setting ourselves up for success. And so as you're even thinking here today, right? Like if your phone is literally plugged in right beside your head when you go to sleep, and right beside the light as you turn it on when you wake up in the morning, what do you think the first thing is you're going to reach for after you turn the light on? You're going to reach for your phone because it's the most obvious choice. But if you did something simple like get your phone out of your room and go plug it in the kitchen, and you put a journal beside your bed or a book beside your bed, do you not see how you might make a different choice when you wake up in the morning and turn your light on? I have clients who say, I want to make my arms stronger. And so I literally say to them, put the 10-pound arm weights next to your desk in your office, so that when you get up after a Zoom call, you literally trip over them. And that's your visual cue to remind you of, oh, I'm going to do 10 reps before I go and get my coffee or go to the washroom. So visual cues and environment, these are huge catalysts of our behavior. And what I want to encourage you to do is create some obvious visual cues for yourself and set your environment up for success. And here's a powerful life hack. If you want to make a habit a bigger part of your life, then you need to make the cue a bigger part of your environment. And we're about to look at the worksheet. So this is going to be your takeaway from today. This worksheet helps us understand the habit loop, and there are 4 steps to creating a new habit for yourself and getting rid of old unhealthy habits for yourself. And the 4 things you need to understand is every habit follows these 4 things: cue, craving, response, reward. The problem is with bad or negative habits, we've just created the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward for something negative. And what we want to be doing is creating a cue, craving, response, reward for this new positive thing that we want to replace the negative thing with. So again, you're in the driver's seat and you have control and you can take ownership over this. These are all things that you can do. And so how do we do that? And so we did put this worksheet. Thank you, Summer, for putting it in there again. So if we go back to the intention that you set for yourself today, and now again, these are us lifting these weights. I want you to think about the negative habit that you want to stop doing, whatever that negative habit is. And there are 4 questions you need to answer right now, and we'll give you a minute. How are you going to make that invisible to yourself? So I gave the example of the phone, get it out of your room, put it in the kitchen. How are you going to make it unattractive? So you've got to replace it with something more attractive. How are you going to make it difficult? I mean, maybe you could literally charge it downstairs in the basement. When you first wake up in the morning, you don't want to go all the way downstairs. The kitchen might be easier because that's where the coffee maker is. And somehow you have to make it unsatisfying. So visual cues are powerful. And one of the things I do is I sometimes in my coaching with clients have them close their eyes and visualize. Visualize themselves doing the negative habit. And a month from now, what kind of impact is that going to have on them, on their life, on their stress, on their relationships? And really feel it, see it, experience it. That creates a powerful negative image in the mind so that every time you go to do it, your brain is going to remember that negative picture of who you don't want to be anymore. And then the next step, right, in our boot camp, and some of you will be continuing these exercises after you leave here today, is to replace it with the good habits. So how do we make this new habit visible, attractive for ourselves? How do we make it easy to do? How do we make it satisfying? And so I'll do a similar visualization with my clients where they visualize themselves daily doing their new habit, feeling it, experiencing it, seeing the ripple effect, the positive impact that has on them, their life, the people around them, how it benefits them a month from now. So feeling it, seeing it, experiencing it in your mind's eye is a powerful picture for you. And that's what you're going to hang on to. And this is even why with some of my clients, I've got something up here on my wall, which is like my vision board, where I've just cut out words from magazines of what I want more of in my life. But it's a visual. And every time I look over there, that's what I see. And they're powerful reminders to me of who I want to become, how I want to live my life, what's important to me. So I want you to take a moment now and even think about this new habit that you're wanting to create for yourself. How can you make it visible? How can you set up your environment so that you'll succeed? How can you make it attractive? What's one small step you could take so that this is easy, right? I love the African proverb, you don't eat an elephant in one bite. One small bite at a time. So you don't go, like, here's one of my clients the other day said, when I said, tell me why you're not doing what you know you should be doing, which is we've discussed meditation many times to help her decrease her anxiety. Tell me why you're not doing it. And she said, I just can't find half an hour in my day. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who said half an hour? Like, do you have time to listen to a 2-minute meditation? What do you need to stop doing so that you can give yourself a gift of 2 minutes to do a meditation instead? So make it easy, right? Start off with something small. Start small. And then we've got to make it satisfying. So if we can commit to doing this for a week, what's our reward going to be? And that's another whole different conversation, because many of my clients have grown up giving themselves unhealthy rewards. So if I can get through the week, I'm giving an example, and meditate every day for 2 minutes, on Friday night, I'm going to go out and drink with my buddies. Now, there's nothing wrong with going out on Friday night and celebrating and connecting with buddies and having some drinks. But let's not attach an unhealthy reward to a healthy habit. That's not the purpose of this. So let's come up with a way of rewarding ourselves positively for being committed to ourselves. Self-care is not selfish, it's survival. Many of my clients who are struggling with burnout have very unhealthy perceptions of this concept of self-care, right? They feel it's selfish, they feel guilty. These are unhealthy mindsets. And look at what that's done. It's led to this place of literal burnout. So again, pausing for a moment as we're wrapping up our time here. The mind loves pictures. This is why visualization is powerful. This is why visual cues are powerful reminders. So even for me, sitting right here taped on my windowsill is a list of positive reminders to myself. My list says, slow down. My list says, build in a buffer. My list says, for every yes, you're saying no to yourself. And I see that list every day. I'm staring at it right now. So what are your visual cues that you're going to create for yourself? Some people put sticky notes on their mirrors. Some people put, if it's something like, I want to take supplements more, I'm like, put a sticky note beside your toothbrush. Better yet, put the supplement beside your toothbrush, because we know another powerful way to create new habits is to connect them with another habit. So you're already in the habit of brushing your teeth twice a day and you can't remember to take your supplements. Put the supplements beside the toothbrush. Now you're going to remember. What changes do you need to make in your environment? That's another powerful question to consider. And as we wrap up our time together, another way to really help build the positive pathways in our brain is to intentionally think of positive things. So one of the habits I started in the pandemic, literally, where I'd wake up with a sense of like fear or dread about what was going on. That was I'd open my eyes, I'd start to feel it. I don't know how many of you can relate to that. I thought to myself as I was lying in bed, trying to motivate myself to get up and get going so I could motivate my kids to get up and get going and feel positive. I'm like, I have 10 digits on my hands. So I literally, before my feet hit the floor, started thinking of 10 things and counting 10 that I was grateful for or thankful for or looking forward to about my day. And then when I was sitting having breakfast with my kids before we rushed out the door, I'd say things like, what are you looking forward to about today? What are you grateful for about today? And as we sat at the dinner table after another very difficult, challenging day, I'd say, what were the good things that happened to you today? What are the things that you're grateful for that happened to you today? What can we all be thankful for right now? Let's even just take a moment and say out loud what we're thankful for. Because there was so much challenge and disappointment and negativity and sad stuff going on. And that's all we think about, talk about, think about, talk about, think about, talk about, that it creates these ruts in our mind. So I know everyone knows this. This is not rocket science, but we've got to do it. And then again, I'd close my day. So I love bookends. The brain, it's called the primary and the recency effect. I'd start my day, 10 things. And as I crawled into bed at night, I'd force myself, again, thinking of 10 things as I reflected on my day. Grateful for, thankful for, appreciative of. So today is just a little boot camp, right? We've covered a lot. My hope is that you've got one action to take away from you, one habit that you're going to commit to. And then the principles of time management apply. So the two key principles of time management: one, fail to plan, plan to fail. So make a plan. Don't just say, I'm going to be more grateful. Make a plan. Be specific. I'm going to count 10 things I'm grateful for before I get out of bed in the morning. And I'm going to count 10 things I'm grateful for before I go to bed at night. Or every time I'm at a red traffic light, I'm going to think of 3 things I'm grateful for. So be specific, make a plan. And then the second part is what gets scheduled actually gets done. And so one of the habits I want you all to take away with you today is to set aside a half an hour in your phone in your week for yourself, to simply just reflect on how you're doing. So mine is Sunday afternoons. I've got a half an hour blocked off just before dinner time because I noticed we're always home around that time. And I come into my office and I shut the door and I have a cup of tea and I reflect on my week. What went well for me this week? What did not go well? What do I want to do more of? What do I want to do less of? How will I plan that? How will I schedule it in and make it a priority? And if there's things I need help with, it's like, who could I reach out to? Where could I get help with that? Who could I ask for help with that? So there's lots more we could say about being positive. I mean, listen, we've got lots more we could say, but I just want to allow you to now pause, set an intention for yourself, make a plan, schedule it in. Accountability partners are amazing. So if you do have a trusted person in your life, like a friend, a coworker, your manager, an HR person, a counselor, a pastor, a coach, someone to help keep you accountable. Listen, I'm a coach and an HR person, and I have a counselor that I speak to every 3 weeks, and she keeps me on track and she holds me accountable to myself. And lastly, pair any of your new habits with old habits because that helps you to remember and create visual cues. So as we wrap up, and I know we're out of time, I hope we do more of these Mindset Reset boot camps. If you'd like us to do more, let us know. I hope to see you again. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me One Stop HR.
I'll just jump in here just quickly. Thank you so much, Debbie. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for the coaching session. I really feel like I have a couple concrete actions to take going forward. So that was amazing. A virtual round of applause for our amazing speaker. Thank you so much. I just want to talk a little bit more about checking in for any of you who don't know what we do at Checking In. We are a mental health and self-awareness solution for businesses to check in with their employees. We have an app for self-awareness that has mindfulness, meditation, breath work, as well as journaling, and other services for individuals and for businesses. So for our enterprise clients, we also have monthly programming on different wellness topics each month, which include more private live sessions like this one, as well as videos and learning experiences through the app. So I have put some information on us and how to connect with us in the chat. And then, like Debbie mentioned as well, you can connect with her on LinkedIn and at onestophr.ca.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Summer, for all your help. Okay, everyone take good care of yourselves. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.